Today at Birds of a Feather, we're getting festive with a Christmas crochet project that's as cozy as it is cute. A Santa-inspired mug cozy. Perfect for holding your hot cocoa, coffee, or eggnog. We won't judge. It's got the belt, the buckle, and all the cozy holiday vibes you could ask for. And it makes an awesome gift. Whether you need something for a fun gift exchange, a stocking stuffer, or a little surprise under the tree, this mug cozy is sure to spread some cheer. So grab your yarn, your hook, and maybe a few Christmas cookies for creative fuel, and let's get crocheting. We're going to be using this 24/7 cotton, and the reason I love this is because it's got a beautiful mercerized sheen. I've got a 4mm crochet hook here. This is my prototype here, and as you can see, we've crocheted it so that it's perfect for lefties. If you want a right-handed version, we're going to make this stripe a little later in the row so that we can put it on in the right direction. This is held on by just some chain stitch loops, as you can see here, and you just crisscross them over the handle to hold it on. Now, I should mention that you're going to be able to get this pattern on the blog, so I'm going to leave a link down in the description so that you can go grab that. Now, this is specifically made for both a lefty and a right-hand version. We're going to crochet the right-hand version here today. We're starting off with our white, so we're going to start with a slip knot. We're just going to twist, grab it, and pull, and then we're going to chain 40. And I really recommend you do this loosely because we are going to be crocheting into the back bumps. I just find that that makes a nice clean edge. And I'm just going to turn the work so I can show you the back bumps here. I'm just going to take a blunt needle. So that's the front. You're going to turn your work to the back, and the back bumps are right here. They're these little horizontal stitches here. So that's what we're going to be crocheting into, but first we've got to make 40 chain stitches. So I'm going to pause the camera right here, and I'm going to let you do those 40 chains, and I'll meet you right back here. So we've got our 40 chains. We're going to turn the work toward us, and we're going to single crochet into the back bump all across the row. So the back bump is right there. Yarn over, pull through your loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Again, we're crocheting into the next back bump. We're going to pull through our loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. We're going to continue single crocheting all across the row. When we get to the end of the row, we're going to chain 1 and turn. You're going to chain 1 and turn throughout this entire pattern. So we're going to crochet in white for a total of 3 rows. So I'm going to stop the camera here. I'm going to let you single crochet those 3 rows. Don't forget that you're going to chain 1 and turn at the end of each row. So meet me right back here after you've crocheted those 3 rows in the white. Now we're approaching the end of row 4, and what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to red in the last stitch. So we've got our 2 loops on the hook. We're going to bring our red in, put it over the hook, draw through the 2 loops. We're going to tighten off the white, and we're going to chain 1 and turn as we always do. Now we're going to crochet back the other way, and we're going to crochet 26 single crochets, but from this point forward, instead of crocheting through both loops, we're only crocheting into the front loop only. Again, don't forget it's front loop only, and I like to work in the tail end. So I'll just grab it here. So I'll cut off that tail end a little bit later. Now, if you're crocheting the left-handed version, I'll just show you here. On the back of the work, you're going to leave the white attached and you're just going to bring it over, and then you're going to start doing your stripe, as you can see from the front. So for the right-handed version, we're going to cut our yarn. As you're crocheting the 25th stitch here, you're not going to complete it until you switch over to the white. So you're going to put your white over and you're going to draw it through the 2 loops on the hook, and then you've switched to your white. Now you're going to bring everything to the front here of your work. Tighten that up. Make sure everything is hanging off the front. Now you're going to crochet, single crochet 7 in the white. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on the 7th stitch, you're going to bring the loop through, bring that to the front, you're going to bring across your red yarn, and you're going to complete that stitch. So as you can see, you're carrying the yarn right over the white. Now again, make sure that your white is coming forward, your end there, and you're going to continue on with the red. So you should have another 7 stitches to end this row. 1, and again, make sure that you're crocheting through the front loop only. This is number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Chain 1 and turn, which is what we're going to do at the end of each and every row. Now we're going to single crochet back the other way. So we're going to do 7. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on the 7th stitch we're going to bring the loop through, but we're going to drop the red and we're going to pick up the white and we're going to complete that stitch. So yarn over with the white and bring that through. Tighten up your red, and we're continuing with the white for 7 stitches. So front loop only, don't forget. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on the 7th stitch here, we're going to pull our pro loop, and then we're going to pick up our red yarn. It's going to carry over the back. So we're picking up the red, tighten that up, and we're going to complete that stitch. So now we've got, sorry for the blur guys, so now we've got the red back on the hook again, and we're going to single crochet, again front loop only, to the end of this row. We're going to chain 1 and turn, go back the other way, and we're going to continue on for several rows. Now this is where you can customize it to the height of your own mug. So I'll just drop this and show you. So this one we crocheted, this is my prototype. As you can see, the stripe falls on the left. The one that we're crocheting right now is for a right-handed mug. So the stripe falls on the right here. But you can alter the number of rows you do before you crochet your black stripe here for the belt. So I elected to do more rows on the bottom than the top. You can do however many you like. Just remember that as you're crocheting back and forth, to switch out to your white on the last stitch before. And then you're crocheting 7 of your white and you're switching back to the red on that last stitch, just as I showed you. If you have to, rewind this video again, go back and see how that's done, because that's all you're going to be doing up until we reach this black. Now once we switch over to the black, once again we're going to be crocheting through both loops, and we're going to crochet, I think it's for about 4 rows, but again, refer to the pattern on birdsofafeather.ca. I'll link to that down in the description, and I'll also post it in the comments so that you've got the link to the pattern. So I'm going to continue with my red for a number of rows, and we'll be back to crochet the black. Here we are at the end of row 8. We're about to start row 9, but before we do, we're going to crochet into the last stitch, front loop only, pull up our loop, and now we're going to switch to black. We're going to pull it through those 2 loops, tighten that up, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Notice how our red yarn is carrying over on the back. Now from this point forward, for the next 4 rows of black, we're going to single crochet into both loops. Now I like to crochet in the end here, so I'm just going to hold it in front. We'll crochet into that first stitch, making sure we're going through both loops. And we're going to single crochet back and forth for the next 4 rows, and then we're going to start up with our red and white stripe again. Now we can just let the red and white yarn drop. And again, I like to crochet in the tail ends because it saves me time in the end from having to get a blunt needle and weave it in. If I do it now, then it just saves time. So there's the start of our black. I can drop that tail. I can cut that shorter later. And again, for the black, we're crocheting through both loops. When we start up again, after we've crocheted our 4 rows of black, we're going to crochet through the front loops only once again. And as you can see, here's my left hand version, and we're crocheting the right hand version here. So our stripe is on the opposite end. Don't forget, when you reach the end of each and every row, that you're going to chain 1 and turn. There's our first row of black done. We're starting on our second row of black, and we're going to crochet for a total of 4 rows of black. Here we are at the end of row 12, and we're going to crochet into the last stitch and switch back over to the red. Now if you like, you can cut the red and restart it, or you can leave it on and just bring it up the sides here. That's going to get crocheted in later, so it doesn't really matter. So we're going to chain 1 and turn. Now we're back to crocheting into the front loop only. We're going to crochet 7, so this is 4. Now we're going to grab our white, which is right here in the back, and we're going to continue on with our white stripe. So let's drop the red, make sure it's in the back. First of all, forgot to let you know that you can now cut your black, so we'll just cut it off, leaving it a bit of a tail so we can weave that in. So let's grab the white, and let's back this up because I forgot to bring it in on the last stitch here. So that's our 7th stitch. We're going to bring the white up, and we're going to come through those 2 loops. Tighten up the red, and we're going to continue in white for 7 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on the 7th stitch, as we did previously, we're going to bring back the red, yarn over and pull through both those loops, tighten up the white there, and we're going to continue on in red until the end of this row. And as usual, we're going to chain 1 and turn. And don't forget, we're back to crocheting into the front loops only. So that's how it's looking. We're picking up our stripe and we're continuing on. So we're going to crochet back and forth again until we have a total of 3 rows. So complete your 3 rows, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. At the end of the 3rd red row, we're going to crochet a loop so that we can fasten this to the handle. So I'll just show you on my prototype here. We're going to be crocheting this loop and attaching it. So let's set this aside and continue on with this one. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to crochet down the side here. We're going to single crochet into the side. We're going to pick up 2 loops as we do that. Now it's a little difficult to see the black here, but just make sure you're picking up 2 loops before you single crochet. Okay, so as you can see, that neatens up the edges. You can compare it with the other side. That's still jagged, kind of raw looking. So that finishes it nicely. So from here, we're going to chain 20. And we're going to turn our work, and we just want to pick up at the corner here. We want our yarn behind. So our loop is attached, as you can see, and we're going to continue with row number 4 across the top. And as we usually do, we're going to pick up our white yarn, do our stripe, and continue to the other end. So don't forget, we're still crocheting into the front loop only. So single crochet across the top. I'm going to pause the camera here. I'm going to let you catch up to me. And then once you've reached this other side, I'll show you what to do next. We're going to crochet another loop just as we did here. We're now on the 4th row of red. We're at the end of the row. We can now cut our white. So let's leave a little bit of a tail so that we can weave that in later. Now, instead of crocheting down the side, this time we're going to do our 20 chains first. So let's do 20 chains. So once again, we're going to turn our work. We're going to come down to the bottom. We're going to pick up 2 loops at the bottom here. Bring that through, yarn over, and complete our single crochet. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn. We're going to move that chain out of the way, and we're going to continue single crocheting right back up the side to the top. Once again, make sure that you're capturing 2 loops at the side here, and if you find that difficult to do, grab yourself a smaller hook Now you'll find it easier to grab 2 loops, pull it through, and you're going to do this really loosely because you want to mimic the size of the crochet hook that you're using. So once again, we're going to pick up 2 loops at the side and complete our single crochet, and make sure to do that loosely. Now, once you reach the black here, you're going to want to crochet in the red if you left it attached. So there's the red. Just make sure that it's in between, and that way you're crocheting right over and you're going to hide it. And again, make sure you're capturing 2 loops of your black here. As you can see, that red that we carried up the side is hidden. Now this is the tail end of our black. You can work that in too if you like. I think I'm just going to take a needle at the end and just weave that in. Okay, we're back to the top. I'm just going to slip stitch into the top here. I can probably bring this needle back. I'm going to cut the yarn. Leaving a tail. And we're done. I'll fasten it off and weave that in. And there's our 2 loops at either end. So I'm going to weave in all the ends off camera, but I just want to show you that you're just going to put this over one end of the handle. You'll come across to the other side. The other loop will go over the other end of the handle. And there you go. That's what holds it on. It's a little messy now, but you'll see it in the reveal. So now we're going to go ahead and crochet our belt buckle here. So grab some yellow and meet me right back here, and let's crochet the buckle. For the belt buckle, we're going to do our slip knot, and we're going to chain 19. Now we're going to single crochet 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to increase into the next stitch, which means we're just going to do 2 single crochets into that stitch. That's going to help us turn the corner. Now we're going to single crochet 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, we're going to increase into that next stitch. So 2 single crochets, that's 1 and 2. Now we're going to single crochet 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once again, we're increasing, so 2 into the next stitch. And to finish off, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to slip stitch it together and we're going to stitch it onto our belt. So let's go ahead and slip stitch into the next one here. Let's just grab that and slip stitch to close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a long tail end and we're going to use that to stitch it on. So let's bring back our mug cozy and we're just going to fasten this off. And we're going to go ahead and stitch that on. And you can pin that first. So you're going to have to go around both the outside and the inside edge. So I'm doing the outside first. So when you're back to the start, make your way down to the middle. And then stitch around the middle also. For the spoon cozy, aka the Santa hat pattern, go to birdsofafeather.ca for the pattern. You'll find the link down in the description as well as pinned to the first comment. So I'm going to leave you right here. I'm going to finish that off camera. Here's the mug cozy we made for lefties, and here's the one we made today for those of you that are right-handed. Don't run just yet, you might be interested in this next video. Visit birdsofafeather.ca website to search hundreds of tutorials and sign up to join our mailing list.